Hey, what's up guys, it's TechZoomer talking to you here, and in today's video I want to talk about the iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2023. I want to talk about if it's worth it to buy the iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2023 and if it's really that good of a deal, because you can find these phones relatively cheap these days, not as cheap as they should be, but relatively cheap for around $700. And they are really still premium phone. They feel premium, they look premium, they perform premium. But is it really worth it to have one? And if you have one, should you upgrade or should you keep your phone for one more year? So I think this is a very good video that I do every single year after a phone is released. Should you buy one? Should you upgrade it from it? Or should you just be happy and still keeping using it? So if you like these types of videos, do not forget to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for all the support. Let's get started. So, the iPhone 12 Pro Max was released on 2020. 2020 was the year of the first time of the pandemic, and we got these phones late. If you don't remember, the iPhone 12 Pro Max didn't have a full year of a cycle. So, it only lasted around 9 to 10 months because Apple released this phone around the November timeline, while it released the iPhone 13 Pro Max on September of 2021. So, this phone lasted less than 1 year. But it is a very good phone. The iPhone 12 Pro Max was released as the first generation of the squared off design iPhone. This phone introduced the squared off edges, and this is really good. Like, these edges feel premium. It's the first generation, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the lightest iPhone to feature these stainless steel squared off edges stylus. I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max looks insanely cool and feels insanely cool in the hand. Still, in 2023, the iPhone 12 Pro Max feels premium, feels like the most recent iPhone. I've had the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I've used the iPhone 13 Pro Max for the last year and a half, and I gotta tell you, the iPhone 12 Pro Max doesn't feel any different from those phones. So in terms of premium feel, design and looks, the iPhone 12 Pro Max definitely passes the future-proof test. It still feels like the newest iPhones, and if you buy one right now in 2023, you want to grab it because it will feel like a completely new phone from Apple. So in terms of design and looks, the iPhone 12 Pro Max still feels brand new. But with the introduction of this design, the iPhone 12 Pro Max also introduced something different. It introduced this matte glass. And in this matte glass, we have a new technology. It has MagSafe. It is the first generation of a MagSafe on an iPhone. So yes, if you buy an iPhone 12 Pro Max, you will have access to the MagSafe accessory run. This is really good. I love my MagSafe accessories. I love the MagSafe charger, MagSafe wallet, MagSafe battery pack. All of that will work on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this is even another plus because MagSafe is the future, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's the first iPhone to feature it. So if you buy an iPhone 12 Pro Max, you will be completely future-proofed. And still, for around the same price, you can buy an iPhone 13 used right now. This is a very good deal. Then let's talk about the worst part of using the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And that's the screen. No, the screen here is not bad. It's not even bad, like terrible. It's really good, but it only has one defect, and one that I think that might be a deal breaker for you: 120 Hz. This phone doesn't feature ProMotion. It's the last iPhone, the last Pro Max iPhone not to feature ProMotion. If you don't know, ProMotion was introduced with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and so this phone features a 60 Hz display. It's kind of the worst part of the experience by buying this iPhone. If it had 120 Hz, then I would be recommending this phone to everyone. But this phone doesn't, has a 60 Hz display. So it's not that easy to recommend. If you don't know, 120 Hz makes your phone feel buttery smooth, while this iPhone feels kind of clunky if you use it. Feels slow, feels old. It's not like the iPhone 13 Pro Max that still feels brand new. 120 Hz can go a long way to make you feel your phone fast and new and like future proof. So I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max's biggest mistake is not having 120 Hz. Other than that, this display is really good. It's bright, it's color accurate, the colors pop, it's HDR capable, it can record HDR video so you can watch HDR video here. It's really good. And other than that, if you don't really care about 60 Hz displays, because you still have the iPhone 13, the iPhone 14 Plus, all of those phones still have 60 Hz displays. If you don't care about a 60 Hz display, then the iPhone 12 Pro Max definitely is a good buy for you. I think that this space gray color that I have right here is really beautiful. It's one of my favorite colors ever on an iPhone, other than the iPhone 14 Pro Max's matte black, the iPhone 7 jet black, and the iPhone 11 Pro midnight green. So all of these colors are good. This one is really cool. Other than that, I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max display is a B. It's 80% as good as day and age displays, and if it wasn't for the 60Hz, then I would class it as a top-notch display. Talking about the notch though, the iPhone 12 Pro Max features the old type notch. The notch that stretches out to the top and is not as deep as the iPhone 13 Pro Max's. So, what you think about the notch? Let me know in the comments down below. For me, I never cared about the notch. Like, after a while I forget about it. When Apple changed the notch from the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I did not care about it. When Apple removed the notch and introduced Dynamic Island to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I mean, it was cool, but I did not care much about it. So now, going back to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I forgot about the notch again. So do not care about the notch differences. That's just Apple trying to sell you a new phone. That's just marketing. At the end of the day, the notch is something that is necessary for Apple to house its amazing Face ID system that the iPhone 12 Pro Max features, and it's really, really good. No, it doesn't feature the technology that the iPhone 13 Pro Max onward features, which can unlock your phone on different type of orientations, but it's still a very good, very fast Face ID. So you just look at it, swipe up, and it unlocks. It's really, really good. iPhone 12 Pro Max features 90% of all the features that the iPhone 14 Pro Max does have. So I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max, not talking about the cameras and not talking about the display, it's still classified as a flagship phone in today. So I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max, not talking about the display and the cameras, is good. But I think that now we have to go to the cameras. And this is where the iPhone 12 Pro Max falls short. Not on the photo side. No. That maybe compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max in some scenarios it does. But I think it's on the video. The jump that Apple made from the iPhone 12 Pro Max to the iPhone 13 Pro Max's video was significant. But the jump that they made from the iPhone 13 Pro Max to the iPhone 14 Pro Max was also significant. So you have two generations of iteration on the same camera system technology, and you end up with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. The iPhone 12 Pro Max features the old 12 megapixel sensor. But since its release, Apple has released two new main sensors. The iPhone 13 Pro Max's sensor is bigger and wider, so it can accumulate more light. But the iPhone 14 Pro Max sensor is also bigger, and this time is 48 megapixels instead of the 12 megapixel found on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and iPhone 12 Pro Max. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max on the camera side, it's still a little bit behind. I think it will be even more behind as years come, but I think that for a normal guy that just want to make social media videos, to take some videos, take some cool photos, I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is more than enough. This is my mom's phone, and my mom just loves to take their pictures at night, Christmas lights, lights to go, and take pictures around like mothers like to do. And all of her pictures, I just go to her catalog and watch, and she shows me, oh, look at this cool picture. And I see it, and she's all happy, and I look at it. It's really good. It's actually really good. So I'm like, why? Why she would need a new phone? The pictures are insanely cool, and she's very happy with it. So I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max, for the average guy, the average Joe, it's still an amazing camera system. It's still more than enough. Social media compresses all of your pictures and videos. So I think that for a person that doesn't run a YouTube channel on their iPhone camera, like I do, you don't need the iPhone 14 Pro Max to do that. I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max's camera is more than enough, as good as it should be for a normal person. Night mode is still really good. Video is insane. And of course, takes amazing cool pictures, has a 2.5x telephoto, so it's not as good as a 2x telephoto that the iPhone 14 Pro Max now has. And it's better than the 3 times telephoto. I'm not a fan of the 3 times telephoto found on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think that telephoto it's just crops too much in, and at the end of the day, it just makes the portrait mode photos not look that cool. But the iPhone 12 Pro Max's camera is really good, and I think that you won't have any problems with it. But Apple also has the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and this is probably the weakest part of this camera system. The ultra-wide camera is the worst. I think that Apple improved the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and now on the iPhone 14 Pro Max is really, really good. But here on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you can notice its shortcomings. If you have a very well-lit environment, the ultra-wide looks really good. If you have a poorly well-lit environment, it's terrible. But if you have like that 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock lighting, so it's not the golden hour, past golden hour, it's dark, I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max's ultra-wide should be a lot better. In 2023, you can notice its age. Other than that, the video here is really good. The main camera video, it's top notch. Sometimes I use this phone to shoot B-roll of my iPhone 13 Pro Max. Sometimes I use this phone to shoot whole videos and you won't notice it. But one thing that I never do is shoot videos with ultra-wide camera here. It's kind of grainy, it's not as good as the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and definitely not as good as the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But now that we are on the subject of video, I need to talk about all of the things that has been left out for the iPhone 12 Pro Max since its release. First, let's talk about ProRes. ProRes is not available on the iPhone 12's generation. It starts on the iPhone 13's. So if you want to shoot professional video and you want to shoot ProRes on your iPhone, you will have to go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, 13 Pro upwards. This is kind of bad because I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max has enough power to shoot ProRes. I think it was a software lock from Apple, and yeah, it's not a feature that you should upgrade for, but if you are a professional and you really want to use your iPhone camera for more professional work, I think that ProRes would be a very good feature to have. So if you really want to use professional work with your iPhone, then I suggest that you go for an iPhone 13 Pro Max upwards. Then we have cinematic mode, another feature that is really cool, and Apple hasn't launched on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It was firstly launched with the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and Apple did not make it available for the older iPhones, especially the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This was kind of disappointing, but I understand why. It's very taxing on the CPU. Right now, you can only shoot 4K 30 frames per second on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So it's understandable that 2 generations back iPhones do not get it. But cinematic mode is one of my favorite video features on the iPhone, and I wish I could have it. For you guys that have the 12 Pro Max, and for my mom that likes to shoot video, that would be very fun for her to use. But that's life. You gotta eat your compromises, because if you want a cheaper phone, you will get less. That's normal. Guys, if you want to buy an iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2023, you will get less stuff. You have to live with that. It's normal. You will get less features. It's just normal. You will have to live that. But considering that cinematic mode, ProRes, are more things that normal people don't actually use, at the end of the day, if you have the iPhone 12 Pro Max's camera, I think you will be extremely happy. Oh, I forgot to add that the iPhone 12 Pro Max's camera, even though it doesn't have the cinematic mode, it doesn't have ProRes, or even that stabilization mode that's only available on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, the iPhone 12 Pro Max shoots in HDR. So if you want to shoot in HDR to post on your social media like Instagram, which actually supports it, then you can do it. But be very careful, because the video just looks blown out on an Instagram feed. So be careful. On your iPhone screen, on the photo app, looks amazing. But on Instagram, just looks a version of blown out video. Be careful with that. Other than that, I love the feature-rich camera system that this iPhone can offer. Everything, it's amazing. I love it. And for my mom, is more than enough. The front camera is upon the lines of the iPhone 13 Pro Max's camera. It's not bad. It's not great. Just use the back camera for 99% of your shots. And if you want to take a selfie, then use the front camera. Other than that, I think it's more of a FaceTime camera than a real camera. But if you really want a good front camera, then I advise you going for the iPhone 14 Pro Max's camera. Now it has dual apertures, so we can focus on a background on yourself. It's really good. It is dynamic. Go for the iPhone 14 Pro Max if you want a really good front camera. So enough of camera talk. Let's talk about the performance on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This iPhone features the A14 chip. The A14 chip here, it's really fast. Trust me, it's really good. It's so fast that the iPhone 12 Pro Max won't feel nothing short of amazing in terms of performance. It plays every single game available, it's ridiculous. It plays everything. Like I was saying, the iPhone 12 Pro Max features a really good CPU. So at the end of the day, I think that you should consider the iPhone 12 Pro Max, even though the performance is 2 years old, even though the CPU is 2 years old, even though the GPU is 2 years old. I believe that Apple will still software support this iPhone for 5-6 years more. So do not worry about that. I wouldn't. This CPU is more than enough for 100% of people watching this video. So it's really good. Performance is amazing. And the only thing that I would say that this iPhone kind of lacks regarding the newer iPhones is battery life. The battery life on the iPhone 12 Pro Max is not as good as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Like, battery life on iPhones, it's kind of weird. It goes like this. Because the iPhone 11 Pro Max had amazing battery life, like industry-leading battery life. Then came the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and it was kind of bad. Like, it was worse than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but it was still more or less good. Then came the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and that was, again, cutting edge battery life. It was amazing, the best battery life ever on an iPhone, my iPhone. But then, now we have the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and again, battery isn't that good compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's still really good, like, it's almost on the same level, but it's 1 hour short of being amazing. While the iPhone 12 Pro Max, For a normal people, lasts you 1.5 days, maybe 2 days if you are not an heavy user like my mom. But if you are an heavy user like myself, it will probably die on you around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So it lasts you a full day. My iPhone 13 Pro Max, some days doesn't even last a full day. But be careful though, if you are buying used iPhone 12 Pro Maxes, I would recommend you checking the battery health, because in 2 years, it's normal that an iPhone degrades about 20%. This iPhone, it's around, let me check, I think it's around 90% degraded, so it's not bad. My mom takes care of her iPhone really good, but I will check right now. I think it's, let's see, it's 94%. So imagine, this phone, it's 2 years old. It came out in November, so it's about 2 years and 1 month old, and it's still only degraded 6%. My mom, she's crazy, like she doesn't charge this phone every single day, doesn't have an habit of charging every night, so this phone, battery, is top notch. Actually, I would ask my mom to take care of my electronics, because the battery life on this phone is just ridiculous. 6% in 2 years. Really good, mom. Good job. But be careful, if you are buying this actual iPhone, it's 94%. So make offers down below. But again, joking. But the iPhone 12 Pro Max has okay to very good battery life. It's about a B in my scale. So I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is more than enough for you. Buy an iPhone. If you are watching this video, you are probably thinking, should I buy an iPhone 12 Pro Max because I want to save some coin? And I want to buy still a premium feeling iPhone. I don't want to buy an iPhone 12, an iPhone 13, an iPhone 14 even. I think that those phones look cool, but I want a stainless steel iPhone. Do I get the iPhone 12 Pro Max, or do I spend a little bit extra, get the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Well, that depends a lot in like various factors, but the main one would be 120 Hz. If you want ProMotion 120 Hz, definitely go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. If that's not a problem, if you don't actually really care about that, or you will probably don't notice 120 Hz, a lot of people don't notice, I will leave now on the B-roll on the screen, like the slowed down version of ProMotion, and you can see that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is more fluid, while the iPhone 12 Pro Max is more like frame, instead of a whole continuous video. So yeah, that's ProMotion for you. If that's not enough for you to spend the extra cash, then I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's definitely worth it. A color available on the iPhone 12 Pro Max was the blue one. I had the blue one, I think it was the Pacific blue. I love that color, but at the end of the day, my favorite iPhone 12 Pro Max color was this gray. This gray is beautiful. I think that is one of my favorite iPhone 12 Pro Max colors, not my favorite. So if you like the iPhone 12 Pro Max, do not forget to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel so you can tell me in the comments down below what you think about the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Do you want to buy one in 2023? I do a video like this every single year. I made the 2022 version, the 2021 version, but in 2023, I think that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is still really worth it to buy. But if you care about ProMotion, I would advise you going for the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think that the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now, it's the perfect sweet spot for buying a Pro iPhone right now. Used, not new. Because if you want really the best iPhone available, there's only one, the iPhone 14 Pro Max. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. While you're there, drop a like down below, subscribe, and of course, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. This has been Tech Smart talking to you here. Bye.